Hello, I'm Dr. Michael. Today, I want to talk about one of the most common and costly mistakes people make with supplements. Every year, people spend huge amounts of money on vitamins, minerals, fish oils, powders, capsules, and health products, hoping they will feel better, sleep better, think better, reduce inflammation, improve immunity, or simply support their long term health. But the truth is, many of them never get the results they expected. And it is not always because supplements do not work. Very often, it is because they are taking them in the wrong way. Sometimes the dosage is too small. Sometimes the form is poor. Sometimes the nutrient is taken at the wrong time. Sometimes it is missing the supporting nutrients it needs to function properly. And in many cases, people expect a supplement to overcome a poor diet, high stress, lack of sleep, or chronic inflammation, which puts the body at a disadvantage before the supplement even has a chance to help. That is what I want to break down today. I want to show you why so many people waste money on supplements, and more importantly, how to make a smarter decision so your supplements actually have a chance to work. The first thing we need to understand is the difference between an RDA and a therapeutic amount. When most people buy a supplement and flip the bottle over to look at the label, they see percentages next to the nutrients. Those numbers are usually based on something called the RDA, or Recommended Dietary Allowance. Most people assume that means this is the ideal amount their body needs every day. But that is not really what it means. The RDA is often closer to a minimum level designed to prevent a major deficiency disease in the general population. In many cases, it is not meant to represent an optimal amount for performance, resilience, recovery, or correction of an existing deficiency. It is certainly not always a therapeutic amount. So if someone already has a deficiency, or if their body is under more stress, or if they are dealing with inflammation, fatigue, poor sleep, blood sugar problems, digestive issues, or chronic stress, taking only the minimum amount may not be enough to create a meaningful effect. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They take a tiny amount, they wait for some dramatic improvement, nothing happens, and then they conclude that the supplement is useless. But often the problem is not the idea of the supplement. The problem is the amount, the form, the timing, or the context in which they are taking it. Take vitamin D as an example. Many labels still reflect low daily values that were designed around preventing obvious deficiency conditions. But vitamin D is involved in much more than that. It affects immune function, bones, muscles, mood, inflammation, and many different systems in the body. A lot of people think that if they take a very small amount, they have covered their needs. But depending on the person, their lifestyle, their sun exposure, their body size, their diet, and their current blood levels, the amount required to support healthy function may be very different from what the label suggests, only in terms of preventing a severe deficiency. But in practice, the body uses vitamin C in many important processes, including immune support, antioxidant defense, collagen production, and stress response. If someone is under a lot of physical or emotional stress, the body may use more of certain nutrients than usual. Vitamin B1 is another nutrient that many people underestimate. It is crucial for energy production, especially in the mitochondria, the parts of the cell that help generate usable energy. The more refined carbs, sugar, or processed starches a person consumes, the more demand they may place on certain nutrients involved in energy metabolism. That means two people eating different diets may not have the same nutritional needs, even if the label on the bottle gives the same small number to everyone. Magnesium is another classic example. It is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions. It helps muscles relax. It supports the nervous system. It plays a role in blood sugar balance, sleep quality, energy production, and stress regulation. Yet many people are low in magnesium and do not realize it, partly because modern diets are low in magnesium-rich foods, and partly because stress, poor digestion, and other lifestyle factors can raise the body's demand. If someone takes a low-quality magnesium in a low amount and sees no result, that does not mean magnesium is unimportant. It may simply mean they have not yet given the body the form, an amount it can actually use. Zinc is another important one. It is involved in immune function, hormones, skin health, wound healing, and the senses of taste and smell. Vitamin B12, selenium, omega-3 fatty acids, iodine, and vitamin K2 all fall into this same broader conversation. The main lesson is this: the number on the label does not always tell you what your body truly needs to thrive. It often tells you only the minimum level meant to avoid severe deficiency, not necessarily the level that supports recovery, balance, or optimal function. Now, before anyone misunderstands this, that does not mean more is always better. It does not mean you should randomly take very high doses of everything. What it means is that context matters. Your needs are influenced by your health, your diet, your digestion, your medications, your stress levels, your sleep, your age, and whether you are trying to maintain good health or address a real deficiency. This is why smart supplementation is about more than just buying a bottle and following the smallest generic dose printed on the back. The next major mistake people make is ignoring cofactors. This is a huge one. Nutrients do not work in isolation. In nature, vitamins and minerals are part of a system. They work together in networks. The body runs on chemistry, and healthy chemistry depends on multiple nutrients cooperating in the right way. For example, vitamin D does not work alone. It interacts with magnesium, vitamin K2, and other nutrients. If someone takes vitamin D but is low in magnesium, they may not get the full benefit they expect. If someone is increasing calcium absorption but not paying attention to vitamin K2, then calcium handling in the body may not be as efficient as it should be. The body needs balance, it needs coordination. Nutrients are partners, not solo performers. Zinc is another good example. Zinc and copper have a relationship. B12 works closely with folate. A folate issue can sometimes resemble a B12 problem. Vitamin B1 relies heavily on magnesium. Coenzyme Q10 works in a broader antioxidant network that includes other nutrients. Vitamin A metabolism also interacts with zinc, so if someone takes one nutrient without considering the others, they may be missing part of the picture. This is why a person can take something consistently and still say, "I do not feel any different." It may not be because the supplement is pointless. It may be because the body is missing one of the support nutrients required to use it properly. That is the importance of cofactors. The next thing I want to talk about is diet, because this is where many people sabotage their results without realizing it. If your diet is full of sugar, ultra-processed foods, refined starches, inflammatory oils, and nutrient-poor calories, your body is already under stress. On top of that, poor diet can increase the demand for certain vitamins and minerals. In other words, a bad diet does not just fail to nourish you, it can actually make your body need more support. This is why you cannot expect a handful of supplements to completely compensate for a consistently poor diet. If someone is exhausted, has unstable energy, poor sleep, cravings, and chronic inflammation, but continues eating foods that worsen those problems, the supplements may never show their true value. Supplements are exactly what the name implies. They are supposed to supplement a solid foundation, not replace one. So if you want better results from your vitamins and minerals, you also need to ask yourself a deeper question. Is my daily diet helping these nutrients do their job, or is it working against them? Because food still matters. Protein matters. Mineral-rich foods matter. Healthy fats matter. Blood sugar balance matters. Gut health matters. All of that determines how well your body receives and uses what you take. The next mistake is timing. A lot of people do not realize that when you take a supplement can make a real difference. B vitamins, for example, are often better earlier in the day because they support energy metabolism. Some people notice that if they take certain B vitamins too late, they feel too alert at bedtime. Iodine may also be better earlier in the day for some people because of its relationship with thyroid function and energy. Fat-soluble nutrients such as vitamins A, D, E, and K are usually better absorbed when taken with a meal that contains fat. The same principle applies to omega-3 fatty acids and CoQ10. If someone takes these on an empty stomach and then wonders why they do not feel much, absorption may be part of the reason. Magnesium is different. Many people find that magnesium, especially in calming forms like magnesium glycinate, works well later in the day. It can support relaxation, help the nervous system settle down, and make it easier to wind down in the evening. That does not mean it is a sleeping pill. It simply means it helps support a calmer internal state, which is incredibly valuable in a world where many people are overstimulated, underrested, and carrying chronic tension. Another important issue is the difference between natural and synthetic forms. Not every synthetic form is automatically terrible, but the truth is that quality matters a lot. Many cheap supplements use low-grade ingredients, poor quality fillers, or forms that are harder for the body to absorb and use. This is one reason why two products with the same nutrient listed on the label may perform very differently in the real world. For magnesium, one of the most common low-cost forms is magnesium oxide. It is inexpensive and widely used, but it is poorly absorbed and often acts more like a laxative than a true magnesium replenisher. Many people take it, experience digestive discomfort, and never receive the deeper benefits magnesium is known for. A better tolerated and often better absorbed form is magnesium glycinate, which many people prefer, especially when using magnesium for relaxation, muscle support, or sleep support. Vitamin B12 is another example. The form matters. Some people do better with methylcobalamin than with cyanocobalamin. Folate is another area where form matters. Many people benefit more from methylfolate than from folic acid, especially if their body does not convert the synthetic form efficiently. The same conversation applies to vitamin B6, where many people prefer the active form, known as P5P. These details may sound technical, but they can make the difference between a supplement that sits on the shelf and one that actually helps. The form matters, the bioavailability matters, the purity matters, and the body's ability to convert and use that nutrient matters. Now let us talk about calcium, because this is one of the most misunderstood supplements of all. Many people grow up believing that more calcium automatically means stronger bones. But the body is more complex than that. Calcium is not just about intake. It is about regulation, placement, and balance. The body has to know where calcium belongs. It needs support from other nutrients involved in bone health and calcium metabolism, especially magnesium and vitamin K2. Without that balance, simply taking more calcium does not automatically solve the problem. This is why more is not always better, and why the conversation around bone health should never be reduced to one single mineral. Bone health is a system. It involves nutrition, movement, hormones, digestion, protein, minerals, vitamin D status, and the body's ability to place calcium where it belongs. I also want to mention that many people become too dependent on the idea of a supplement bottle while ignoring the lifestyle factors that either support or drain their health. Stress drains nutrients, poor sleep drains recovery, digestive problems reduce absorption. Alcohol can deplete certain vitamins. A high sugar diet raises demand for some nutrients. Certain medications also affect nutrient status. So if you are under more stress, sleeping poorly, eating poorly, or dealing with digestive issues, your nutrient needs may be very different from someone else's, and your results from supplementation will also be different. This is why a personalized approach matters. Smart supplementation is not just about swallowing pills. It is about understanding your body, your habits, your diet, your symptoms, and your real needs. If you have ever said, "I tried supplements and they did nothing," I would encourage you to think again. What did you take? In what form? At what dose? For how long? At what time of day? With what food? With what cofactors? While eating what kind of diet? Under what level of stress? These questions matter because supplements do not operate in a vacuum. The goal is not to take more and more products. The goal is to take the right support in the right way. In many cases, less but better is far more effective than taking a long list of low-quality supplements with poor absorption and no real strategy behind them. So what is the smarter way to think about all of this? First, do not assume the RDA equals the best amount for every person. Second, understand that cofactors matter. Nutrients work together, not alone. Third, improve the diet that surrounds your supplements, because no supplement can fully rescue a lifestyle that keeps depleting the body. Fourth, pay attention to timing, because absorption and tolerance can change depending on when you take something. Fifth, choose better forms, because the body can only benefit from what it can actually absorb and use. And finally, stop judging a supplement only by the marketing on the front of the bottle. Read the form, read the ingredients, read the quality, ask whether the dose is meaningful, ask whether the nutrient is active or poorly absorbed, ask whether it works alone or needs support from other nutrients. Ask whether your body is even in a condition to benefit from it. That is how you become a smarter consumer. That is how you stop wasting money. And that is how supplements begin to make more sense. Because the truth is, supplements can be useful. They can be powerful tools when used intelligently. But they are not magic. They do not replace food, sleep, movement, stress management, or healthy habits. They work best when they are part of a bigger strategy, not when they are treated like a shortcut. If you focus only on the bottle and ignore the body, you will probably be disappointed. But if you understand dosage, form, cofactors, timing, absorption, and the health foundation underneath it all, you give yourself a much better chance of seeing real results. So if you have been spending money on supplements and feeling like nothing is changing, do not immediately assume that supplements are useless. It may simply mean the approach needs to change. Maybe the dose is too low. Maybe the form is weak. Maybe the timing is wrong. Maybe the missing piece is magnesium or vitamin K2 or a better diet or better absorption or simply consistency over time. When you understand these common mistakes, you stop guessing and start making informed decisions. And once you do that, your supplement routine becomes much more effective, much more targeted, and much less wasteful. I'm Dr. Michael, and I hope this helped you understand the real reasons why so much wastes money on supplements and what you can do differently